So now we can break down cluster B personality disorders. These are them real drama queens and kings of the DSM-5. These folks are the life of the party until they're not. So today we're diving into borderline, narcissistic, histrionic, and antisocial personality disorders. And I'm sure you guys all know someone or have worked with a client or familiar with one of these personality disorders. So I'm going to give you the key traits. I'm going to give you some memorable examples. I'm going to give you some tips. I'm just going to give you what you need to do to crush these questions when you see them on the exam. All right. So first and foremost, let me define what cluster B disorders are. Cluster B personality disorders, they're characterized by dramatic, emotional, and erratic behaviors. These individuals often have trouble regulating their emotions and they tend to act impulsively or seek attention. So there's a mnemonic or a way I want you to remember these. Think of BANH. That's the borderline, antisocial, narcissistic, and histrionic. That's just how you're going to memorize them in order so you can kind of remember what diagnoses go in this cluster. Also, a quick tip is that there's 4 diagnoses in this cluster. When cluster A has 3 and cluster C has 3. See how that rhyme? Cluster C has 3. But yeah, anyway, sticking with cluster B, there are 4 of them and I'm going to break them down. And trust me, when you walk away, you're going to know everything there is to know about this cluster and you're going to be able to answer it if you see it on the test question. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. All right, so here we go. I'm going to break down each disorder. You're going to have an understanding of it. And then by the end, you're going to feel like you're just a pro when it comes to cluster B. And of course, if you watched the previous video, cluster A. So first and foremost, that borderline personality disorder. These are individuals that have intense fear of abandonment. They have unstable relationships. They think all or nothing, like they have a love you or hate you relationship. They're very impulsive. So you'll see them having spending sprees, reckless driving. Sometimes they're hypersexual. There's a lot of impulsivity when it comes to borderline personality disorder. They also have that emotional instability where they have those mood swings and things become pretty intense. And they do have a history of self-harm or suicidal behavior. A clue here that I did not mention on this slide is that a lot of individuals with borderline personality disorder also struggle with some depression. That's where you see that self-harm and that suicidal behavior. So you want to kind of be familiar with that and have an understanding and recognize it, or be on the lookout, should I say, if you're working with a client that has borderline personality disorder. So here goes a quick question or tip, should I say. If you see a question about someone with unstable relationships, which typically every quiz or every test question that deals with borderline throws that in there. So that unstable relationships and that impulsivity, someone who goes from idolizing a person to hating a person, think borderline personality disorder. There's no gray area. It's either black or white. Maybe I should have did it like that. Black or white. Anyways, so that's how you have to think about it when it comes to borderline personality disorder. So a fictional character to think about is Harley Quinn. Wildly emotional, impulsive, and has a fear of abandonment. Hello, we know the Joker if you've seen it. Also, let's move on to antisocial personality disorder. So some key characteristics here. This cluster is so dramatic. I think I need to stand up for this one. So some key characteristics here is that they have a disregard for others' rights. They lack empathy and remorse. They're deceptive and manipulative. They engage in criminal behavior and they violate social norms. If a person shows repeated criminal behavior, they lie, and they have no remorse, and they don't care about who they hurt, think antisocial personality disorder. A fictional character here is Tony Montana from Scarface. He's violent, manipulative, and has no remorse and does not give a damn who he's hurting in the process. So that is the way to think of this. Also, with antisocial personality disorder, you must remember that they must be diagnosed with, I heard you, conduct disorder. Absolutely. So it has to be a time frame. They have to have conduct disorder before they're just outright given antisocial disorder. And then it's that age thing. So I'm not going to dig deep into that, but that is something you want to be mindful of when you're taking the quiz and you're looking at the description of the person. Consider the age, look at what they might have been previously diagnosed with. Are these behaviors a pattern? Are they consistent? Did it just happen? All of that good stuff. All right, let's move on to 3. Narcissistic personality disorder. These individuals have that grandiose sense of self-importance. They need excessive admiration. They lack empathy. They have a sense of entitlement, and they're easily offended. And they normally react with rage when they are criticized. So when you see someone described as arrogant, you see someone described as entitled, and someone who is unable to empathize, think of narcissistic personality disorder. I got 2 ahead of myself, as you can see. So fictional character here would be Miranda Presley. That is the Devil Wears Prada. Expects perfection, belittle others, and lacks empathy. Also, this example, I am giving you a female, but please keep in mind when it comes to narcissistic personality disorder, a majority of the individuals diagnosed with this are males. And if we back up a little bit and go to borderline personality disorders, a lot of those are diagnosed in females. Not saying it can't be the opposite sex, but I like to use that as the test question, because if you're really confused and it uses an example of a male or female and you're stuck between those two, sometimes you just got to go with the process of elimination. So think narcissistic is more of a man being diagnosed and borderline is more of a female being diagnosed. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, the 4th one, histrionic personality disorder. Some key characteristics here are constantly seeking attention, dramatic and theatrical, easily influenced by others, inappropriate or provocative behavior, shallow emotions that shift rapidly. So if you see a person on a test or a question or a scenario or a case study, and it says the person is overly dramatic, attention seeking, dressing provocatively to gain attention, think HPD, histrionic personality disorder. I absolutely love the Golden Girls, and Blanche, oh my goodness, she is the perfect example of someone with histrionic. Remember, when you think of Blanche, she's very flirtatious, very dramatic, and always seeking to be in the spotlight. Clearly, all the characteristics of histrionic personality disorder. So keep that in mind. So when you think of the test question and you're not sure what's what, think of these characters. Hopefully they'll help bring some light to your understanding of it. All right, so let's do some differentiation here. So borderline personality disorder, they have that fear of abandonment and that emotional instability. Let's highlight antisocial. Antisocial, you have criminal behavior, plus they're acting like a criminal, they're doing all this craziness, and they don't even care. They lack remorse and they have no empathy. Then you have the narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder, they're pretty much arrogant and they need to be admired and they lack empathy. So you see that common denominator between antisocial and narcissistic. They both lack that empathy, but it looks different. Antisocial people lack that empathy, but they're all about doing things that are problematic and not conducive to society, where they have that criminal behavior. The narcissist is just arrogant and they just don't care about nobody else because they want to be admired and looked at and appreciated and valued. And then we have histrionic. As we shared the Blanche example from the Golden Girls, histrionic, you have the individual that is overly dramatic. They have attention-seeking qualities and they are shallow. If you're trying to differentiate between borderline personality and narcissistic personality, people with borderline fear abandonment and they hate themselves deep down. Whereas people with narcissistic, they love themselves too much and they feel entitled and they want to be praised. Then you have the antisocial personality disorder versus the narcissistic. Antisocial people hurt others without remorse, while narcissistic people feel angry if others don't give them the admiration that they're wanting and longing for. Then you have the histrionic personality disorder versus the narcissistic. The histrionic people want attention, while the narcissistic people want respect and admiration. So those are 2 ways to kind of differentiate between the two. All right, so let's talk about how to ace cluster B questions if you have it on exam. I don't want you confusing BPD with bipolar because they're totally different. BPD is a personality disorder. Bipolar is a mood disorder. Personality, mood. Keep those 2 differentiated. If we're going to stay on track, ASPD, which is antisocial, yes, personality disorder, is not the same as somebody having psychotic or psychosis. They do overlap, but antisocial personality disorder is a clinical diagnosis used in the DSM-5. Remember, narcissistic personality, histrionic personality disorder, both involve that individual being a little self-centered. But narcissistic is about admiration and histrionic is all about attention. So that is the difference there. Some keywords you want to look at when it comes to questions on the exam: borderline, fear of abandonment, and that emotional instability. You must look for that. Antisocial, criminal behavior, deceit, and no remorse. Narcissistic, grandiose, entitled, and they lack empathy. And histrionic, these are the drama queens. And they're always looking for attention, and they have shallow emotions. So let's rock out with the question. We got a 28-year-old woman. They have a pattern of unstable relationships. She has a history of cutting herself when she feels rejected, and often swings from idolizing people to hating them. Remember, guys, I said it's either black or white. I shared that with you guys. So hopefully you remember the clue I gave you. She fears being abandoned and struggles to manage her emotions. What personality disorder is she most likely to have? Narcissistic? What are we looking for in narcissistic? I don't see that need for admiration anywhere in there. Histrionic? I don't see that need for admiration there either. I don't see any shallow thinking or talking and, the need to be admired there with the narcissist. And then also histrionic attention seeking and that need to be admired in that way. And then we have the borderline personality disorder. All right, I'm starting to feel that. But let's go down to D, bipolar. Remember, bipolar disorder is a mood disorder versus borderline is a personality disorder. So process of elimination, the answer is C, borderline personality disorder. I hope you guys got that right. Correct. Borderline personality disorder. Now the key clues are the unstable relationship, fear of abandonment, emotional instability, and the self-harming behavior. Remember, cluster B personalities bring the drama. So if you know these traits, you're going to be able to spot them a mile away. I don't care what test you're taking, what quiz you're taking, when you take it, you're going to know that for sure. And please remember, if you need more test prep and you have more questions about how to do this and how to understand it when it comes to exams, we have an amazing test prep program called the Elite Test Prep course. It is absolutely amazing. It digs deep into all these concepts that you might be struggling with and give it to you in a more simplified way. So please check us out at www.coachingtheelite.com and check out our test prep course. I'm sure it will be life-changing and save you lots and lots of money so you don't have to retake that exam. But here's a quick challenge. Which disorder involves a lack of empathy and grandiose sense of behavior or grandiose sense of self? I want you guys to drop the answer in the comment section so we can talk and dialogue to make sure you really understand and you're able to understand these concepts in a way that you'll be able to spot them out when it comes to the big test day. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend. And I'm so excited you decided to join us on this journey because over here, we're trying to make sure everybody wins. Be blessed into the next one.